head. Because you can see what they're fighting over. They're fighting over crumbs in Washington. This government's almost rote the way it operates now, and it just keeps moving in one direction. At some point, in some way, they have spent 100 years or more driving us over the cliff. We need to spend 20, 25 years, some period of time, trying the process that the framers gave us. Use the Constitution to save the Constitution.
Mark, one of the arguments against the convention route has always been that once you open it up to everything, and they could change things like maybe they try to make the Second Amendment about militias only and not the rights of the individual. So how do you address that concern? Do you just believe that you wouldn't get 37 states to adopt that amendment?
In advance, the states have to decide what the subject matter is and where they're going to go with it. I don't believe there's going to be 2/3 of the states that say, state legislatures that say, let's abolish the Second Amendment. But if they do, it's over. In other words, where do we go? If that's the position of the federal government and the position of a supermajority of the state governments, it's over, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, if the people want to surrender to tyranny...
So it's over either way.
If they want to surrender to tyranny, then that's tyranny they get.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of...
you're making a very good case here, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
I am really at that point to where, look, if this is what you want, I'm never going to be a part of it. I won't play your game. I will go out my dying breath fighting for freedom as I understand it and fighting for the Constitution of the United States of America. And I will instill it in my children. But if that's what you want to do, just let's be open and honest about it. That's what you want. That's what you're voting for. Good. Go for it. Take it.
But the thing is, the reason the left has never gone through this approach, never, and the reason they would fight this approach is they're getting damn near everything they want top down. They're not going to want to work bottom up. And let's keep something in mind. There are tens of millions of us who still love this country, who still love the Constitution, who still revere our heritage. And we're looking for ways to deal with this. And we can keep beating our heads against the wall. Okay, select more Republicans. Well, we had 6 years of Bush in the House and the Senate, and other than Obama, it was the most profligate, out-of-control period in recent federal history. So we can do that. But
look at all the people in the House. They have the chance to stop the universal health care. They have the chance to stop it right now, and they're not doing it. And those are Republicans.
Well,
so
I'm with you.
Completely useless.
Look, I'm with you.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, look, here's the thing. People are imperfect. Our institutions are imperfect. So there's no absolute 100% foolproof system or proposal that can be made. Countries are not guaranteed perpetual existence. They're just not. And so when people say to me, what can we do? What can we do? Well, I rack my brain, and I do what I usually do. I go back and I look at our founding, and I look at our history, and even before then. And the framers, even though they set up this magnificent Constitution, they were concerned that it would be breached. If you don't have people of virtue in these positions, then you have what? You have tyranny. So this is the approach that they left us. I just thought it was time to remind people about it, to make the case for it. I mean, I hear all the myths. I hear, the convention can be hijacked. Hijacked by whom? They're not going to get 3/4 of the states to abolish the Second Amendment. And as I said, if we do, then it's over. Then we're going to look for somewhere else, I guess. But that's not going to happen because the legislatures decide who the delegates are. They can pull them back. And you always can have 13 states stop anything. Stop anything. If we can't find 13 states to stop something, do you know, right now, 13 states can't stop the Supreme Court. They can't stop Congress. They can't stop an imperial president. In other words, it's not like we have this magnificent Constitution that's being complied with. We don't. It's not being complied with. So what's the alternative? If somebody else has another plan, I would love to see it.
Mark, I have to tell you, there's I think people expect that everybody's going to come up with the answer, and I get people yelling at me all the time. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, because I play my role in the play. I don't have all the answers. I have no idea. I'm not a constitutional scholar. I'm not an attorney. I know my role, and my role is to try to affect the culture. That's where I am headed, and that I think is an important piece. But we all have to understand that we each play a different role, each of us. And, just like the founders, I mean, I'm always amazed at how Thomas Paine and George Washington got together. And if it wasn't for those two men, each of them coming with their own special talents, the American experiment would have never happened. And yet they die hating each other. And one's an atheist and one reveres God. They couldn't be two more different men than there were there. And you look at Sam Adams and, all of them. Each of us play a role. And I have to thank you for playing your role. Really, really good case. Really good case. And maybe you're on to the answer. That somebody needs to figure out how to fix Washington. And I certainly don't know how the hell to do it, because it's a mess. Good job.
Well, thanks, Glenn. I don't know that I have the answer. I'm just trying to remind people what the framers argued for, and it's certainly worth taking a look, I think. And God bless you and your staff there.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Mark Levin, the Liberty Amendments, Restoring the American Public. I am so busy reading other books right now on other topics, but I don't know if that wasn't a case to read this book. I don't know what is. Pat and I have been talking about the Constitutional Convention. We've talked about it for years, and Pat said, no. I think there's something to this case, and I think Mark just made that case. It's the Liberty Amendments, Restoring the American Republic, available everywhere books are sold.